Tyrone, how's it going, man?
What's happening?
Lucky to have you back here.
Sure.
Today we just want to talk a little bit about, actually a little bit of info for novices. Two things that I've picked up that are lacking, I think. Number one is that Akies are spending huge money on auctions, and I don't really think they do their homework, which I'll explain now why I think so, and then you can have your input. And then, if we can just speak a little bit about your race system, because I know you've given it to a few oaks, it's worked very well for you. From the beginning, you've stuck to it, and you've always professed that it works. I think you got it from Pat Wright.
Yeah, it's actually Pat's system.
Pat's system.
Yeah.
I think John Phil flies similar system.
Same system, yeah.
Same system. I mean, you two guys have been top of the union for a long time now.
Yeah. If I can maybe go back, to when I started, it was Joe actually came and gave me a whole lot of. He came to my mother's salon with a whole lot of pigeons that he was getting rid of, and I said, no, I'll take those birds, just not to race.
You went to pigeons?
No, I wasn't racing at the time, so I just wanted the pigeons to have pigeons, and then.
How many years are we back here?
That must have been 2006, 6 or 7, so I don't know.
Okay.
And then he said to me, no man, look, these aren't pigeons, Joe, you'll take me and we'll go. So anyway, I went with him to an auction, bought a lot of pigeons, and once you pay for them, now you want to race them, you know what I mean? So we brought them in Middleburg, I think, a whole lot of birds, and started breeding them, and
was that your pre-cast loft?
It was actually
my first still Avery.
Yeah. So then my dad knew Andrew Small for a while, and I went.
Because your dad also raced pigeons.
Yes, but not
seriously.
You can, to say that he raced is an overstatement. I think he just tried.
But he
was too busy with other things. Yeah, so he didn't really race. But yeah.
But the interest was there.
Yeah. Look, that comes from my grandfather. He was heavily involved with the Old English Game Farm.
Yeah, so the feathers are
I grew up with those, and my father grew up with those, and so anyway, the love for feathers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my dad knew Andries, and he said, look, I'm just going to see Andries. So I went to see Andries, got some birds from Andries, and then, like I always, I don't know if it's, I know when you start out in pigeons, you think you're going to
reinvent the wheel.
You're going to reinvent the wheel. You're going to show them. You're going to get these pigeons from here or there and show the Benoni oaks something that they don't know. And maybe it's pride, or I don't know what it is that you did. But I never got the advice that I needed, whether it was because I wouldn't take it or I didn't ask for it, maybe. Because like Joe's been my friend for a long time, and thinking back,
I think a little bit of inexperience on your side. You don't really know the right questions to ask.
The right questions. Yeah, like I said, me and Joe have been friends for a long time, but I can't remember him giving me any advice at that time when I was breeding. Now, I don't know, not knocking him, but maybe I just didn't ask the right questions, or ask any questions maybe. Anyway, as it went along, I met Hilton Wright. He's very close there to my factory. He was also involved with the game file, so I knew him through my grandfather. And then he said to me, look, his brother's a champion, and his brother all did. And I thought, here we go. Another guy that's brother's a champion, and that's a break. So he said, no, but he'll arrange me pigeons if I can do a wall for him, and this and that. So I said, okay, well, let's do it. And ended up at Pat Wright, and got some birds from Pat, and then it was a bit of a story because Hilton hadn't told Pat that Pat's giving me the pigeons. Pat wanted to charge me. And anyway, he gave me pigeons, and with the pigeons gave me a system. And when he gave me the system, I followed the system as he said. I didn't deviate. For the first couple of years, exactly how Pat said I must race pigeons is how I raced pigeons. And that was, don't put your pigeons on a truck. So it was every Tuesday and every Thursday at the time, driving to Paris to liberate with the truck.
So that's how many kilos for you on a Tuesday and Thursday?
100 kilometers on it. And then on a Wednesday, we would do a 50 kilometer. at midday.
Yeah.
But anyway, I followed the thing, woke up every morning, drove, me and my wife drove out there, leave there, get back to work on time. You know, it wasn't easy to follow, but I did it and immediately started finding success.
So if I can just interrupt you there. So you immediately started finding success, but was that with Pat's birds as well?
Yeah. So obviously,
look,
I had my birds,
Yes.
those birds that I purchased.
Yeah.
And then the birds that obviously Pat had bred for me. And look, maybe.
But I also saying that, Tyrone, what novices must realise, I think, which we all have made that mistake, but maybe we can help them by just that little hint is when you get birds, like if you get birds from Pat, you know you're getting of the very best. So if you can go to a fancier that's
Yeah, so yeah, we'll get to that. But what the thing is with like Pat, and look, I owe a lot to the man. You know, he was a genuine guy. Really, you know, I loved visiting him, chatting to him, and you know, he was a proper pigeon man. You know, he wasn't. You get these guys that are more all for themselves, and they try and change the sport. To suit themselves, not for the betterment of the sport. Whereas when I met Pat, he took me under his wing immediately. I didn't have to know what questions to ask. He gave me the answers.
Yeah, and I think the more experienced fanciers can take just a note from that. So Pat took you under his wing as a novice who knew nothing, and then you're still in the sport today. So maybe if a few guys can take. Note of that, more experienced guys take a novice under your wing, and the guy stays in the sport.
You see what also happens, I if I can go back, when I had all those birds that I got from Andries and the ones that I bought on the auction, I bred the whole season, and before the first race I had 7 pigeons left. Sure. You know, so I raced my first season with 7 birds.
I remember that season.
You know what I mean? And
I don't want to give other memories of this season, but I remember this season.
So it was a tough time. You know, I paid my school fees to be in the sport. I suppose stuck through it.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the danger is you can lose a novice like that quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, not many guys will stick a season through with 7 pigeons.
No, you said that to me that year. Yeah, you said, I'll never forget it. In the club, you came to me and said, "John, I don't know many oaks that will carry on racing." I've only got 7 birds at them, you know. But as soon as I met Pat, you know, he gave me the right path to be on, a simple path, eliminated issues in the pigeon racing. The difficulty also with helping novices, I mean, it's always, the burden's always put on the established good fanciers to help the novices, keep the novices.
I think if they ask the questions, if they ask.
Yeah, but they've also got to, you know, I've had it where someone will say, look, how do you toss? They become assholes, you know what I mean? They say, look, how do you toss? You tell them, then you say, listen, did you go to Matt and say, oh no, man, you know, I didn't feel like it, and I think, but now, why are you wasting my time? Why are you asking me a question and then you don't follow my advice? Then rather leave me alone. You know what I mean? Yeah. And maybe it's I don't have enough patience, but I also, if you want to do well, listen to what I'm telling you. Yeah. Well, not that I'm the fucking greatest fancier.
No, your results are there. That's why I've been asking you for a while now to come and explain it to us. Yeah. I think you're one of the examples of a guy that started, that's battled more than most guys, except me. Because I was a few years without even scoring on the sheet. But
that was also luck, Russ. Meeting Pat was a luck.
Yeah,
I mean, it really was.
But maybe this will just enlighten some guys of just a path to try and follow to get a bit of success.
And then, you know, we'll get. I don't know if you want to go through the whole thing, but what happened was with obviously with Pat and the way he was doing it, look, that came a bit much to toss and still be at work, and you know, not everyone can do that. Yeah. And you know, it's a cliche now in the pigeon sport that good pigeons make it easy. Yeah. And they do. They make you look good. Yeah. And that proved itself to me when I got the pencil cock from Stephen Dowd. Pencil cock lines from Stephen Dowd.
Legendary line.
Those pigeons, I mean, you know, you could do
anything,
and they race, you know. So yeah, you know what I mean. You find a guy, and that's obviously how my thing evolved.
Although you did get good birds from Pat as well, though. Yeah, he got out of his gold medal and his
100%. Yeah, but they weren't as they were good pigeons, but they weren't as easy to race as the pencil got. And that's how it goes back to like your one-off racing. You know, would Pat's birds work as well as the pencil-cock pigeons in one-off racing? I don't think so. I think they need a bit more.
Yeah, but that's also going back to the fancy. If you look at where you got the pencil-cock from Stephen Dowd, who was multiple times our club champion.
Yeah.
And we couldn't understand why he was champion, because I mean, you and I visited there many times and walk away confused.
And the mentality.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just,
it's that,
if you can just mention a few things just for fun about Stephen.
Like, so he said once he told us no, he had a very tame hen. Every time she'd come in the loft, she'd come and jump. So he got rid of her. I said, well, why? It's not tame pigeons can't race.
Yeah.
What's tameness got to do with how a bird races? I mean, it's probably the opposite if I'm honest. You know, good birds are intelligent, they know me, but like that was like, and then you'd arrive there and then you'd take the food from the stock loft and then feed it to the race pigeons. And I thought, but surely in the off season of the stock birds, rather take the race mix that they leave and feed that to the stock birds. You know, you want the race birds.
The other way around. Yeah. That time I was there, he chased the stock birds over. So I said, Stephen, what you doing? So he said, I'm going to clean my loft. So I wasn't sure what he was saying, or what he was doing. And then he said, no, look, the race birds are hungry, and I'll clean up all the stock bird food. And the stock bird food was old food, and there were mice. And then I said, Stephen, but what about paratyphoid, dear? So he said, no. He bent down and he had a 2-litre bottle there with Purezol water. And he said, I just top up every day with it. They race on this every week.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, that's new to me.
No, look,
and they're super pigeons.
That was, you know, but a lot of those birds, after you got them from him, after 2 years, they stopped laying.
100%.
You know, they were done. So you did have the success, but like, you know, your birds only last, the hens only last 2 years. It's not ideal, you know.
He gave me, I think I gave it to you, the results of the pencil cock, just the immediate results.
Yeah. So,
only in his loft.
So only in his loft, and I mean that was a guy like Stephen. We had, you know, he wasn't
a wealthy guy.
Not in the pursuit of greatness.
No,
he got the pencil cock, and he mated into anything
and everything.
And I think that sheet that he had, I think, was 150 positions in Benoni, and which included triple winners, double winners, gold medals, silver medals. Everything. But I mean, a direct children was 150 direct. Then when I got the pencil cock, my whole loft is basically based on the pencil cock, so it'll be impossible to give a results. You know? What he's achieved, and then obviously there's other guys that got them. I know the guys are phoned from here and said, like, how's this and that.
Yeah.
Their whole lofts are based on him. But he was a champion.
Yeah, then I had his brother. John Boyd had his brother, and Noel Control had his other brother. Yeah. And they were all superstars. Not as great as him.
Yeah,
not as prolific, but they're all bred well.
But yeah, you see, like you get very good stock cocks, and then you get unbelievable cocks. You know what I mean? And it's got nothing to do with like that. It's 4 butts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One just is crazy, and one.
And if we can mention, that specific cock was going to be culled.
So that's how the story goes.
Yeah.
That
Stephen told me.
All the 3 other the other 3 that you mentioned were all winners.
All 3 were union winners.
Yeah, except him. He had a monorail, so he was on the jumping block, and Stephen said, "No, look, he'll take him." And basically. Was the start of the dynasty? Yeah. No, look, he was super. But
and then going on to the
so when I got the pencil cock, it showed me what pigeon racing is about, and how easy it can be, and how difficult we can make it. You know.
So elaborate on that, because that's important.
Yeah. So I think, obviously, thinking about this podcast, you know, from last night, this morning.
Yeah, and from last night, but I've asked you like 3 months ago.
Yeah, to come.
Yeah.
It's just, I just thought, look, I must have something to say, otherwise we get such a looking at each other. Is you get a lot of, I think, egotistical advice, where guys want to tell you, a pigeon, you've got to handle it, it's got to look like this, it's got to be like that, and you've got to know when the bird's on form and when the bird's not on form, and you tell that all to a beginner, and he thinks, I'll never get there.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated. I figure, whereas if a guy wants to know what birds to race, go look at your Kroonstad toss, take the first 20 pigeons and put them in the race. It's as simple as that, Simon. Don't even have to handle them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eventually you can get there, but if you do it like a guarantee, you're going to have success.
Yeah.
But the guys also say, you want that deep purple colour, and you want this, and the mouth, and the feet must be clean, and the rings, and oil spots. The beginner looks at this, says, what are these guys talking about? Oil spots, or pink.
We're really making it sound complicated.
What is pink? What is purple? Is this? What is the difference? You know what I mean? You're a beginner. Just take your first 20 birds from Kroonstad, send them on the road. You're going to have success. And that's how I do it. I do handle my birds, I do look at them, but I would never take my first 5 birds from the Kroonstad and say, no, look, you're aren't in form, you can't go to the race. They're going to the race. You know what I mean?
For sure. So we'll get onto that program of how you race and what you do.
So I think it's just there's no need to really complicate the system.
And the experience will come.
That's it. And as you go along, you get a feeling, and even when you're mating up the birds, or the guys, they've got complicated things. Pair the pigeons. Get a feel for it. See what good pigeons feel like. See what you're trying to breed into the pigeon. It's not. You don't need to be a master to do it.
No, I agree with you there. Make it simple. And
I mean, when I bought Joko from Arnie Moore. Now, if there's ever been a pigeon, I think that could come close to a pencil cock, it would probably be Joko. And that's
Has he bred you very good ones? What has he bred you compared to the I know the pencil cocks bred numerous ones. So Joko, top performance. What has he bred you?
So direct children of him. I've got a GPU gold medal, GPU silver medal, 3rd ace at Dino King, 10th ace at the $1 Million. A grandchild was 14th ace at Vic Falls. His son that was the silver medal bred me the hen that was leading the Sapir Summer Series ace bird now.
Okay.
She lost 3 hours on the final. And
she ended
3rd ace bird. I've got, my best pigeon.
And he himself, did he have any results? Is he any?
So he was the TRPF long distance ace bird himself.
Okay.
And also like then his other son Clark was my best pigeon at Africa Pro the first season.
Okay.
The next mate was my first bird on the final at Africa Pro that same season. The next season Daisy won, who was the 10th ace at the $1 Million, bred me Lola, who was, I think she was 3rd ace in Africa Pro. She was my best bird there. That's a grandchild. So that's the top ones,
that's what I wanted to
that Lola's full brother was a double fed winner, and the other brother was a fed winner, and the other sister was the best bird in Benoni Yomi Society last year. So it's not only Joko, these kids have now also continued it. So that's why I say, he could probably take it close, but anyway, when I got him from Arnie, I had put him in it was the end of the season, get jerky with that year was the best long distance bird. Arnie sold him to me after the season. I then took him, put him in a single pen, and then I needed a hen for him. So I thought, look, he's just come out of a race loft. I didn't put much stock into it because he's not a proven stock bird. So I thought, well, let me get one of my good race hens and put that into him.
And how was she bred?
So 10761. She's my pencil line. She's got a bit of Paloma. She's got a bit of everything in her. But 107. So I went and got her up the race loft. And she had that year, she had flown, it's always the fish that got away, but she had arrived at my house. I was having a bad season that year. And she had arrived at my house and I didn't throw trappers and she flew for, it feels like 5 hours, but I just didn't care. and she dropped. She was second club, second union, I think third combine. I think it was Andries, Pat, and myself. I think that's how it went.
Sure.
So anyway, third combine. So I thought, well, that's my best then. Took her, put her with Joker, and that became the click there. No looking at eyes, no looking at wings. That's just
no complications.
No complications. And I went and got that. Maybe I got lucky.
I think it's got a lot to do with it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know. But what I'm saying is like all those performances now that I've just mentioned of that cock and that hen, and I say it's Joker, but look, a lot all of that is with her.
Yeah.
Except for the first South African or second South African bird at $1 million, that was Bounty Hunter, that was Joker to another hen, you know. Okay. So I think it was key. But anyway, so it's still my pencil line, but it's, you know what I mean?
I was going to say, it's still got pencil in it.
So it's, as much as it's Joker, I suppose it's also the hen, but it wasn't a complication. It wasn't like
so you're saying it was a simple
thing. And look at the.
It didn't take you hours to match them and check the eyes and check the.
I think if eyes, you know, I'm not saying that it's wrong.
No.
You know, I'm saying, but when you're trying to tell someone, listen, when you pair pigeons, this eye to that eye, this wing to that wing, and this body and that tail, and these feet, and you know. It gets, and the guy looks and says, well, I'll never be able to pair pigeons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just simple and...
Yeah. So that's just, you keep it, it's fairly simple, you know?
Yeah. So then getting onto the system then, that Pat put you on.
Yeah.
So you've got the birds now, they've got all of that. Because a lot of guys say feeding is an art, and it also scares novices off because the guys make it, you got to feed this at breakfast, this at 10, this at lunch, this at 3, this at 5.
So the one thing I'll be honest with that I'm very strict on, you know, that comes from Pat.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably the best advice I could probably give anybody is that your birds need routine.
Okay.
He said they're like children. You know, if you let children run riot, don't have a bedtime, they're gonna make you mental. You know, if you're gonna feed your birds at night, feed them at 9. If you're going to feed them at 10, stick to 10 o'clock. Don't feed them one day 8 o'clock, one day 10 o'clock. They seem to hold form better when they've got a routine. They know the food's coming, they know what's going to happen. It's not just a free for all, they can hold it for all. So I think routine is a big thing. I don't know if you want to talk about the feeding or if I should talk about the basic of just. Because I know a big thing of contention is pulling the flights and
we want to keep the birds obviously with as little stress as possible, the least stress possible going through the season from the start.
Yeah. So Russ, that's a big.
You said it's a contentious point.
Yeah, it's a contentious point. You can go into and you'll have 100 guys telling you can't pull those flights because it's this. The flights grow back shorter. They do grow back shorter.
How much shorter?
Millimeters. And I can tell you now. I can show you. I've had.
But has it affected your performance? Your gold medals, your silver medals, your top?
I can show you positions
because you're one of the top faces in the distance in the union for a while now. So and you always do it. So
so those birds, they've all my gold medals. Their flights have been pulled, and like you say, all you're doing, and especially for a novice, is you're eliminating an issue. If that, you know, out of however many pigeons, you're lucky you get 1 or 2 real good ones. Now if those good ones throw a flight mid-season, that bird's gone for the season. Now you're down to hanger-ons and you know what I mean. So you want to, especially for a novice, you want to pull those flights to make sure that bird's got a full wing. So that it's
giving the bird a fair chance.
Yeah, giving the bird a fair chance. It's easier for it to come home.
Yeah.
You know, I genuinely think the season is starting, and they keep doing it, going earlier and earlier, and ending earlier and earlier. And I think the birds aren't ready to be raced when these guys want to race them. If you go look at the COVID year 2019, I mean, the birds go through the mold, they're home a lot better.
So the losses are a lot less.
The losses are a lot less, and then also the heat the heat the guys were moaning about, I don't think once the birds are, I think it's more of a problem to race earlier than it is to race later. You know, I spoke to the guys in Belgium when I was there now about the heat, and they fly from Barcelona. They say that it reaches 35 degrees Celsius, you know, on the route, and that's the guys I was talking to 1,200 kilometers.
Yeah.
And those birds come home and
they're the most sought after birds, eh?
They're the most sought after birds
in the world.
And you know, but now we keep trying to we're shortening it here where I don't think it's necessary, and making it shorter here where I think it's detrimental. But look, that's another whole argument. So I think, you know, you pull the flights, you get the birds that you know they're not going to drop the flights, they're not going to hurt those blood flights when they're going in and out of baskets in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
You pull those flights and you eliminate that out of your. You don't have to think about flights again in the season. You know. Another big thing that I do that comes from Pat is also fly the sexes separate. You know, cocks and hens separate.
Why would you do that?
It just eliminates a lot of guys. You know, if you're a retired guy and you can watch them and say, look, that cock's driving and that hen's getting eggy, and you know, now when you separate them, as a novice, you don't need to know if the hen's eggy. She won't be eggy. You work in them. There's no cocks. She's not going to get eggy. She can go to the race. You know what I mean? And you're eliminating like confusion. You know, like. Complications,
yeah.
You know.
No driving cocks.
Yeah, no driving cocks, no eggy hens.
Yeah.
So, and then I watched whether I read it or watched, I can't remember, but I definitely know it was Ed Skalakins, and he said racing youngsters to a perch, they definitely hold their form a lot longer than if they mated or to eggs or so. Whether
that's true, because when they mate and they go through a cycle.
And you can maybe keep them on for 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Whereas to a perch, they can last for 20 weeks, you know.
Yeah.
I can't say they hold their form for 20, but they hold it a lot longer, you know what I mean? So, that's what Ed Skalakins said. And I mean, he raced the young birds where they actually stopped him racing in Belgium. He was banned from pooling and then banned from racing. Then he had to have another loft in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So look, I think you can take a bit of advice from the guy.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, that's how I do it. I separate sexes, I pull the flights, and then another big thing that I've come across. This is more just my own experience. It's coming to the shop and coming. You know, you've always got it's in April. It's a tossing competition. It's another ego thing, but amongst fanciers, you know, you get advice, you know, I'm in Kroonstad, I'm in Tromsburg, and then the one I've seen both at West, and I think, my pigeons aren't even circling around the loft yet, and these oaks are on the road 1,000,000 miles away, and then, oh no, you late. Then that same year, I beat all of them every, you know.
You think maybe your pigeons stay fresher longer?
Russ, you know.
Well, just give us an idea of when you start training, and then.
So that's, you know, another very wise old man that I know, Roy Magna, horse trainer, and he always tells me, you can't squeeze an orange ripe. Orange will be ripe when it's ripe.
Yeah.
So the guy said, when do you start tossing? When the pigeons are ready to be tossed. You know, I wait, they get through the mold, start training them around the house. When they start working for an hour, 2 hours, then I say, okay, now we can go on the road. When they're ready for it. It's not the 27th of April or the 15th of May.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's when the birds are ready to be, you know.
Yeah.
If
more or less, how many weeks before the first race would you say you start?
So it's like as a general rule. You'll pull the flights mid-February. You know, you've got then 6 weeks. They should be out. So that gives you till the beginning of April.
Yeah.
Then you can start letting the birds out to walk around. They'll start going up, the ones, you know, they'll be a bit fat from sitting.
Yeah.
Because I lock them up.
Yeah.
You know, for 6 weeks,
yeah.
Let those feathers come up and grow nicely. And then, then when they start training, and when they're ready to be tossed, they get tossed. And I think
so you're not in that race to get down to race point before the first race.
If I do, fine. If I don't, if you know,
do you think that's maybe why your birds always found that the guys that do toss hard the birds get stale near the end. That's why your birds don't stale out on the distance, because your results on the distance are.
Yeah, right. So I mean, that could be a number of things, but yeah, I don't know. I just think maybe it is. Maybe those oaks ruin those pigeons.
Yes.
You know, their flights aren't out properly. They're not ready to be tossed. The oaks are tossing them, and maybe those birds just don't want to race when racing season. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Maybe there's going to be a guy that's going to phone you and say, "Tyrone, I don't know. He's talking about my birds. I've got half wings and they toss to Tromsburg."
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just believe get the birds when they're ready. If I miss the first race, so be it.
Yeah.
You know, if
Yeah.
it means I'm not, but at least I can enjoy the season.
The season, yeah. So your aim is always to fly all the way.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I understand that, but look, one of the reasons why I asked you to come here is not because someone can say, like I always tell you, I like black and white.
Yeah.
And your results over I mean, you're going to get your colours now, your national colours for racing. So you don't get your national colours for racing over 10 years because you've been slack.
Yeah.
Or you haven't, it's
Yeah.
because of results.
Yeah.
So, in black and white, your results are there. So I think what you're doing is right.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's
And in pigeon racing, there will always be someone else that does opposite to you. It's also right.
And that's the thing, you know, there's many roads to run.
Yeah.
And, you know, like in our last podcast, I said, you know, Joe raced like a champ. I could
Yeah.
never race like Joe races.
No.
You know, there's guys that'll tell you their champion does it this way, and that. Fair enough. I understand that there's many ways. My way, I think, is simpler. You don't need to know much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need to be a pigeon guru. You don't need to. You know.
But then a lot of guys are going to say, which is a question I've been asked to ask you now, and you know this, special medicines, special mooties as they call it.
So, so now that if we go back now to.
So just the basic system on what Pat might have told you, is there a
Yeah,
cycle
no.
that you do it on?
Yeah, there's a cycle and everything, but what it goes, you know, when I started, again, it goes back to, I'm going to reinvent the wheel. I want to mix this with that, with this, with that, and then it's a bomb, and then the pigeons come like you can't believe. The medication, in my opinion, is probably not necessary. To the extent that maybe we use in South Africa, but I believe that I couldn't race without it because I want to make sure that those birds are in perfect health. So it's more preventative medication that I give.
Yeah. Do you start that when you're training? Do you do it during the season? Only during the season, or
So, in the off season I don't give anything.
No, I mean when you start training.
So
they're starting to fly around the loft, and you start any medication then?
Yeah, so that I never used to, and then I got it from John. And like, I'll have to give you a spreadsheet just to show you.
Yeah,
because it's a 8-week program.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna later on we'll put up a little pamphlet of your exact system and more of that, and make it available.
So, there is a program pre-season to get the birds, make sure that you've treated everything, make sure everything's right, and that the birds are in good condition. And again, the only reason you're doing it is to benefit pigeons. You make sure you're not tossing a bird that's got canker or coxy or breathing problems, or you know what I mean. You want them in perfect condition, making the best possible circumstances for those pigeons to come home healthy. And I think that's what we'll do. You don't 100%. You know, and I understand there's guys that want bombs, and we've all tried it all. I've done it all. I've tried everything, and the one guy will tell you this is the mix. Mix it. It's the worst mix you'll have. Yeah. You know, I've always said, if you treat canker that week, your performances will drop. I've won a Fed, I've won a union on canker medication. Yeah. So I don't really think it really matters what's in the water. When I say that, I'm saying it's not this is going to make you fly. No. Your results aren't going to come out of the bottle. Yeah. It's part of it because you're keeping the birds healthy. But it's not the reason those birds are coming up in a quicker time. No. But it is necessary to keep them healthy. Yeah, but I think what you're trying to say is, because some guys,
and I tried it a lot last year, only want to fly on the most expensive, and that's not necessary, those medicines. You get the local ones that are just as good, and they treat the birds perfectly well.
And Russ, then the oaks, you'll have a guy that said double strength, or whatever the bottle says.
Do that. Yeah.
Don't complicate. Just go, it says 5 grams to 5 litres, do 5 grams to 5 litres.
You take a company like MedVet, who spend millions on research and registration and whatever they do, and their range is affordable, and the birds are healthy, because I've had them tested here by Doc Conradi here on a Sunday. It says they're 100% clear, so there's no need for, I don't think.
No, there's not, and there's no secret weapon.
No, that's it,
and it's nice to listen to, the fables of pigeon racing. I gave this 1 week and I clocked 40 pigeons before the net. When you in a highly competitive club, not everyone's on the same every week. Not everyone. It's just you can. You just got to have healthy pigeons. You got to be training them correctly, feeding them right. And
then the training is just getting back to the training. There's no excess training like some of the guys I've spoken to. They're on. But I think you cover that. When they're ready, you start training.
I start training, and like it's a bit in my mind. You're always trying to figure it out, and it's the same as with the one-offs. When after the race, you go back to the drawing board, you look at it, you say I'm always looking at that. I'm not just content. Say, well, I've won the long distance, and that's it. I don't need to learn anything, you know what I mean? But so, when I look at the way I train, I was a firm believer, but it was my own doing anyway, but that I would toss less on the shorts, and as we would go further, I would toss more. And I had great success on the longs, doing it this way. So that's what I can never understand with the one-offs. As soon as the word final gets mentioned, the training gets slapped off, and I just think I've never trained a one-off race, so it might be different. I don't know, but it happened.
And the basics stay the same for one-offs.
But that's what and I had conversations with international one-offs, and they lock them up for 2 weeks. I understand that they're trying to get the birds all in the loft so that everyone can pay for their pigeons, because that's a business at the end of the day. But it's so detrimental to the birds. I could never rest birds for 2 weeks before a long. Then you're going to have the returns these guys are having.
And the form's going to go out the window.
So I step up the training as the distance gets further. Where a lot of guys believe it's the opposite. And I mean, it actually happened with Dr. Field, where he was annihilating us on the shorts, killing us, and when it came to the distance, he was nowhere. Not knowing he was there, but not. And eventually, we started chatting, and we said to him, "This is how we do it." I think it was me and Joe discussed it with him, and he changed, started working the birds more, and then I think he was a combine long distance champion. So, but now, I think if I maybe tossed hard like that in the beginning, I think I could get the results in the beginning, but I might take a knock on the distance. Our birds might be finished by the time the distance comes.
That's why some of the guys or the bigger lofts have separate teams.
They do have
those birds for the beginning, and they do have the birds for the end.
So what I try So now you've got a decision to make. Do you want to be short? I prefer long distance racing. I prefer breakaway pigeons. I believe they're the better birds. You know what I mean? They can't have too many faults when they're breaking away and winning against the wind from 700 k's. There can't be much wrong with the pigeons.
Those are the closest to perfect birds you're going to be able to put in the stock loft.
So I prefer long distance racing. So if that means I've got to take a knock on the shorts, so be it.
You're not too concerned about that.
So
do you change any of the feeding then going?
So in my from Pat now you feed a morning mix, basically the purative mix, which I think you see you've got
TNT morning mix, yeah.
and then I'll feed a small lunchtime mix, which is fats, like a sneaky mix or whatever. But that's also like a quarter cup to 15-20 pigeons. You know, and then the evening is a race mix, which I think you've also got a mixture here. I don't know none of what, but yeah. And my birds eat.
So do you measure the amount of food you feed, or do you?
No. So that's another thing, is that my birds, with feeding the way I feed, my birds eat as much as they want. And so, but whatever they eat in the evening, if it's 2 cups at night, the next morning they'll have 1 cup.
Okay.
You know,
so 50%,
50%, and eventually you'll know what your birds will eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It won't be tonight 3, then tomorrow's 1.5, then the next day 4, and then it's 2, and then it goes back to 2. It'll level out. And feed a cup, let them finish it. Once it's finished, feed another cup, let them finish it. If they want more, feed another cup. And your birds won't overeat, they won't get fat.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. But you've got to train them as well, you know.
So they're not stressed about the food because they know they're getting fed enough,
100%. So I'll never ever cut food or anything like that.
Okay.
And then, as the distance comes, then it's also, you know, guys will say, start picking up the middies, carbohydrates, that kind of thing, which is great for me because it makes the long distances much easier for me.
Explain that to us.
Because the birds that they fly with fats is the fuel. Is the fuel.
Yeah.
The carbohydrates is short burst energy, and these aren't even my words. This is from, could be from Roby. I watched it also. They've got signed and they've done the test.
Yeah.
For the first 30 minutes, the birds will start burning. They'll burn the carbohydrates.
Yeah.
The carbohydrates will obviously also convert into a bit of fat because it's sugar and it will be.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. But anyway, it's not like clean.
No.
You know what I mean. So the carbohydrates, what they say is the first 30 minutes of flight, they'll burn the carbohydrates. Then they start burning fat. Then they'll start burning muscle. So you've got to, and then they also get like complicated on how many grams per hour of flight.
You know, it becomes a bit scientific.
It becomes a bit.
So how do you get around that?
I feed them. You know, so what I'll do is I'll mix I'll try to keep that system of the morning mix and everything going probably to the middle of the middle distance.
Okay.
And then, but I suppose you could start it earlier.
Yeah.
And then on the Thursday night, I'll feed them as normal, let them eat, and then I'll feed peanuts.
After the feed.
Because then they've eaten themselves, and then they'll, you know what I mean, they'll have a bit of peanuts, a little bit of fats to get going, and then as you go, you start feeding more peanuts or more sticky, whatever, or dia sunflower, whatever you want. Further down the line, you know, from Wednesday, Thursday, you can then do Thursday morning and night. You can change to, you know, peanuts in the mixes.
Yeah.
Try and get more fats in the birds.
Okay, so you do that. So just going back, if you can give us an idea of the training for shorts, and then as the season progresses.
Yeah, so
because I think that's important for the guys to know. If the guys want to train more, they can. If they want to concentrate on the shorts, but just your basic tossing system. Let's call it that.
Yeah. So on the short distance, what I would do is I'd toss them on a Tuesday. They'll go on the truck, which is about 100 k's.
Okay.
Wednesday, 50 k's at midday.
Okay.
You know, midday 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Oh no, Saturday. I've got a Kroonstad.
That's also
either go race or Kroonstad, which is 180 k's.
Okay.
So, you know, I'll never ever miss a Kroonstad toss. They'll always go.
Okay. Yeah. So is that in the beginning now?
That's in the beginning.
So it's a Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday 150 on midday on Wednesday, and then the Saturday.
Okay, and then the other days, is that around the loft?
Just train them around the loft.
Once a day?
Once a day, so I'll let, how I work it is I'll let like my hens out in the morning, and I'll let my cocks out in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
And then the next day, cocks in the morning, hens in the afternoon. So it's only once a day, but it's twice a day because you're training two different sets of pigeons.
Yes. So then getting into the middle distance, you start in the same similar training?
So in the middle distance, then I'll start adding, I'll toss them twice on a Thursday to Heidelberg, 30 k's.
On a Thursday?
On a Thursday.
That's a basketing day, eh?
Yeah, so morning and afternoon.
Okay.
Twice on the Thursday. So then you've got the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay.
Then on the long distance, I'll toss them Tuesday, twice on a Wednesday, twice on a Thursday.
Okay.
To the 30
So increase
So increase the amount of time they're coming in and out of a basket.
Yeah.
Now, in my mind, I thought maybe you're taking the speed off the birds. You're letting them come out and, they're not racing or they're pacing themselves because they're so used to going in and out of the basket. And then when they get to the race, they pace themselves, and on the distance, you want something that can pace themselves. Another thing that Royce always says to me, he says, if they go fast in the beginning, you know what comes next, slow at the end.
Yeah.
So you want, with horses, you want them to pace themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so whether that is the case, or whether it's just tossing, that's making them better, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I like to believe I'm making them pace themselves.
No, true, but how do you, is there anything you do to encourage them to come home quicker? Do you
The young birds, no.
Nothing?
No.
Do you fly widow? Do you fly
the old birds, So the old birds,
do you fly roundabout? Do you use is it only the cocks you're racing for widowed? Or?
No, so it's not really widowed, but it is, in a way, I think it's called double widowed, I don't know what it is.
Roundabout?
So what you'll do is I race both cocks and hens.
Yeah.
Whenever they go in a basket, they go into the widowed section together, and they come home from the toss or from the race.
Yeah.
So every Saturday they'll be in the loft together, or if they go on a Tuesday, they come home, they'll go to that section, spend 5-10 minutes together, and the hens will get moved.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with it. It's just they see the hens only when they're
just encouraging.
only when they're in a basket do they then get to see if they're flying around the loft, they don't see the cocks.
Yeah, they split. Yeah. Okay. So that's it sounds basically like a bit of a roundabout, and then.
See, I think the young birds can race to a perch. I just think old birds know the trick. They know what's going on.
Yes.
And
then a lot of guys. I don't know if you do, but a lot of guys come home, like the food they come home is a depurative, and the water is electrolytes, or how do you work that?
So, Pat actually told me that you must give them a depurative when they come home. I know John feeds as normal, whether it's morning if they come home, they'll get all the racing mix in the evening, whatever the case may be. I've found that I take a mixture of everything. Take all, if I've got breeding mix, if I've got morning mix, racing mix, peanuts, sneaky mix it all up, throw it in.
Except for the race birds that come back now.
Well, all the birds.
All the birds.
Because
on the long toss.
Because you can't. The birds that come from the race need to go to their section.
Yes.
So I just put it all in the loft that lays the whole Saturday. Birds arrive home, they pick what they want, and maybe they like coming home to a peanut, they'll race home for that peanut. If they want a bit of the purity, they'll have it. Then from the Sunday again, I'll start with the morning mix and whatever the case may be. But on race day, they eat whatever they want. Then
and in the water?
The water, plain water.
Plain water on race day. Okay. And then when does your medication start then?
Sunday. So I'll start Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and whatever you can come coxy, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. What is your cycle then on that week of medication? Obviously, I don't know about you, but some guys have a cycle of canker, then coxy, then paratyphoid, then so breathing, then
I think there's 5 major ones that you need to concentrate on. It's canker, coxy, breathing, paratyphoid, malaria.
Okay.
Well, those are mouthful anyway. again, I treat Kank and Coxie together.
Okay.
You know, not pre-season, I
Do them apart.
do them apart, but when I'm in the season, like a Medi-Trick or whatever the case may be, where you treat those two together, then the next week breathing, the next week paratyphoid, the next week Mercon. Or not Mercon, malaria, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
No,
malaria.
well, it is Mercon. That's how Mercon.
Okay, so you.
And then, and I run them on that cycle. I don't deviate from it. And then, very important with all that stuff, but I mean, it gets quite complicated, is obviously your probiotics.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going to put that all in the pamphlet.
Yeah.
Put that all in the leaf. And then on the final day, the race day,
Yeah.
after the basketing day.
So there's a lot of different.
So I don't know if you use vitamins, if you use boosting, whatever.
But Russ, like I said, I don't think it comes out the bottle. I've tried a lot of things. I've tried them on, the Merc and that on the race day. Then I went off of it, and there's no
difference in the performance.
I think, only thing, like you got, I think it's wing speed or something. It's got L-carnitine in it.
Yeah.
Which helps with the red blood cells. Something like that in the morning, and then in the afternoon just plain water.
Plain water in the afternoon.
And just to hydrate them, and then just so when they go to the race.
So basically, it's not a very complicated system.
No.
And
I think, look, so the water. One thing that is like, so if I go Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, will be whatever you're treating.
Yeah.
Then the Wednesday in the water they'll have just blitzful.
Oh yeah.
I think that's magic stuff. And I know other fanciers use it. I don't mention their names.
Don't mention names now.
No, I know a lot of them use it.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I like it. Whether it makes a difference or not, I like using Blitzform on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then the Thursday we've discussed, and then Carney Speed or an L-carnitine substitute over the food. Whether
Is that on when?
Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday. Okay.
I like to do it both days. Again, maybe it does nothing.
But it's your system, and that's what we're getting at.
But I like the L-carnitine.
And then on a Sunday, do the birds do anything? When do you bath the birds?
So I basket them on Thursday. I don't let them fly. Once they've
finished training,
they get locked up, then they get a bath, sit, relax.
So the bath on a Thursday. Okay, and then
Sunday.
Training on a Sunday.
So Sunday, I let them out. They must, if they just do one turn, I don't care. As long as they go up, stretch a bit, loosen up from the workout from the day before.
Yeah.
They can come down. I don't chase them in the loft. I don't get too heavy with them, but whatever. And then from Monday back to reality.
Back to basics. Back to working.
But your birds must. I think the Sunday just to loosen up.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah. And then a lot of guys ask, do you put any oils on the food? Do you put any? I'm trying to think of that other name now.
Gemthapax. Gemthapax. I use Cetacol.
Yeah.
I like that stuff.
Yeah. Is that on the food now?
On the food. Yeah. So I think that's got a bit of. It smells like it's got a cotton oil or something.
Yeah, and it's got choline in it, amino acid in.
So I like using that to wet the food. That Avio gel. I like using that to wet the food.
So I just want to ask you something now that a lot of guys treat for and it hasn't come up.
That's another thing that you need to sorry, that's while I've got is the fungus cure.
That's the question that I was going to ask now. A lot of guys ask about that.
Something that
you haven't mentioned now. So tell us what you.
I forget about that often.
Yeah.
And I think that's.
So when would you do that?
So that like I say, I forget, but I think ideally you want to do it every 4 or 5 weeks. I think, you know.
Yeah.
I've gone 8 weeks without it, but you know, I think it's important to
Yeah, because you have, you know, the doc treats you on tests you on a Sunday, and a lot of the time it comes up with candida. Yeah. But also I must again say, I think the guys are using too much medication.
Yeah.
And
So
they've got to be careful with the balance there.
yeah,
I think if you use the medication right, the candida doesn't spread. Because I've tested you a few times and I haven't treated for candida and I haven't had it.
yeah.
So I think
That's the thing. I mean, if you've got, and that's another thing. It's like I said to you in the beginning, if you've got access to a pigeon vet, not a
pigeon vet.
cattle vet, you know what I mean? Let's be honest here, you know what I mean? That's different animals.
Yeah.
If you've got access to that, and you can treat, and you can go and have your birds tested, and they don't have canker, they don't have any, don't give me the same
medicine. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're gonna get something in the basket somewhere along the line.
That's the thing, yeah.
You know, but if you've got access and you can, don't give them medication.
Yeah.
The only, for me, it's a preventative.
Yeah.
It's not a boost. It's not a this. It's,
I must be honest, I've also used the preventative all the time, so it's checked and there's been nothing. So
Yeah.
I'm
So-
very scared not to give something.
yes, no, 100%.
We can't pick it up,
But you know, for a novice or beginner who
Yeah.
doesn't have maybe access or can't go, you know, see
Yeah,
a vet,
yeah.
then do it as a preventative. But if you've got the opportunity to see vets and there's nothing wrong with your pigeons, there's no
Yeah.
reason to treat them. I mean, there really is not.
Yeah.
It's not going to make you fly in the
It's not
force.
going to make you flying full. So basically, you say right down to the beginning is the bird. Then just a little bit of your advice or your position or your opinion on lofts. Any way they should be built? Should they be? I know we've seen some lofts in our time successful,
that's
but I want your opinion.
That's another.
Because you've been around Europe, you've been around America, you've been. What is your opinion now? And you've been around South Africa, seeing some of the top lofts. What do you? Just your opinion on? And I know your lofts.
Yeah, my loft looks
I like it, so
again, but it's maybe not maybe in reach of most people, you know, but like
100%. I want your opinion.
Yeah, so when I started with Pat Wright, I had a precast walling block.
Yeah, I remember it.
And completely open in the front. It had decking with holes in them for the floor. I mean, it was just way too cold, I think. It wasn't ideal to race over.
Maybe I think it wasn't facing in the right direction either, though. Eh?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I think it wasn't. Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
so, but then I went to Pat and he had beautiful brick lofts, also completely open in the front. I thought, you know, that's how our my lofts and John Field's lofts is also built the same, all on the same system. And so when I moved to Roundfield there where I built myself the loft I wanted, the loft that I wouldn't have to alter again in my life. You know what I mean? So I built a brick loft, completely open in the front, and Roland Bauer came and said, "I'm fucking man, fucked in my head," you know what I mean? Because it's completely open. And he was actually right, I think, you know, now looking back on it. You know, you always hit a dip in the middle of the season, you know, the cold spot. And all of a sudden the birds are gone, you can't figure it out, you're pulling your hair out, you're hiding to the medicine cabinet, you're doing all types of nonsense. And eventually I installed glass sliding windows and louvers.
Okay.
And
you can control the airflow, control the temperature.
Yeah,
and do you measure it at all?
No.
Not.
No, I want to.
Yeah.
I had a little measuring thing in the loft. The battery's been dead for about 2 years now, but it's just nice to know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's whether it makes a difference. What you know.
Yeah. But you say you think it's made a difference, or you?
No, I'm saying monitoring it and saying, okay, well, geez, like last night now was at -1 in the loft. I go put a heater in and I might bugger the whole thing up.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the less you know, the less you can mess around.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
But I like to know things like, if I have a dip, if I can go back and say,
maybe
maybe it was that,
Yeah.
trying to eliminate where the issue came from. And that's, coming back to sorry, I'll call it the medication, but it's not the medication, it's the vitamins and stuff.
Yeah.
On a Monday, it's Cetacol Intramune. I don't deviate from those medications every day. For every season, not medications, I keep calling it, but it's from those products, I should say.
Yeah.
Every Monday, it's
that's actually boosted products. It's health products.
And Doc says I should, he likes to swap it out, and I understand why. But for me, I think if I just change that, and something happens, then it wasn't. At least if everything stays the same. When the problem
could happen the other way though, where you change it and you win the union first positions and
you start stuff and you start zigzagging. I just try to keep it straight.
Yeah. So anyway, so the lofts you think.
So I built them. I've got it more closed and I can adjust it. And I actually installed those windows. I got tired of it, and it was in the middle of the season. I said, no, I must come. And I came in there, the windows, the birds were flying, birds wouldn't come down because they were busy. I thought, well, that's it. This week I'm calm. For sure.
Form's gone now.
Yeah, and with that, I think I won the union that week. After closing those windows. I mean, the difference was incredible.
Yeah.
But again, now I've closed my loft, but I've got a big pitch. I've got
ceilings,
half ceilings in the sections. My loft is probably the size of Dino King that holds 1,200 pigeons. I race 120 if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So I can close it up and not have any issues. But you can't have a small little loft.
Yeah.
And close it up. And he's actually said, Tyrone said to me, close the loft. So you've got to take everything in context and everything. You've got to look at, work it until it suits you, because unless you've gone and built a carbon copy of my loft, but I've seen, like we said, Stephen Dow's loft was closed off, open, broken on the roof, lifted that deep. I mean, it was, and he raced like a champion. So I don't think there's a
hard and fast rule.
Yeah, there's no.
As long as the birds are happy, comfortable, fresh air,
healthy,
and not too cold, dry,
and not too cold,
Yeah.
But I think that's.
Okay, I think you've touched on all the basics there.
Yeah.
On your system, which we'll put in a booklet form and make it available to guys who want to add more in detail of what's mixed on the food, what's in the water, what's tossed 100 k's, tossed 150, all of that kind of stuff. The other thing I want to speak to you about is if we can just try and wise up the novices, I think, because I see a lot in the shop and the guys spend big money on birds. And
Ross, you'll remember me and you went to $1 Million one year, and we walked into the bottle store, and there was an old toppy in front of us.
Oh yeah.
You remember what
tell
he
that
said?
story. Tell it. That was fantastic.
Everything's got expensive, and he says, doesn't matter what a bottle of brandy costs, it's always cheap.
Yeah.
And that goes for the same with good pigeons.
Yeah.
Good pigeons are cheap.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what they cost.
Yeah.
They're cheap because you can go out and spend.
But also on the other side of it, because there's a seesaw here. Good pigeons are always cheap. Bad pigeons are always expensive.
Always. But I mean,
so I'm just trying to get the.
So what I'm trying to say with that whole thing is that you'll get. Don't know. You get guys that sell pigeons, and that you buy pigeons that haven't competed anywhere, that haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So
if I can just give you an example quickly, why I brought this up now. This bird here is pedigree, and if you can see the pedigree, it's like a handwritten little pedigree. So it doesn't look impressive, and it's.
If you mention any of those pigeons in there, the layman won't know.
Yeah, but if that's what I'm saying, if they can just do a little bit of investigation before they buy. So when this specific bird, because I knew the father's the 4 times union winner, champion pipecock, no one's done any investigation. That champion pipecock comes from only small, which Joe Guns bought. It was a 5-time winner in our club. In Benoni, and in our club the competition is pretty strong.
I think it'll be the first 5-time winner ever.
Yeah,
I think so.
And then 04327, she was Old Joe daughter. And if anyone knows Old Joe, I bred that engine, she flew very well for me. And then the father was a 4 times union winner. Now the mother is bred out of a double gold Sampo, which Joe Gomes had. Which could have been the best bird ever in Sampo had it not been for a few seconds, ever. And the mother again of that mother was a gold medal 11692 with plates all over.
I raced against both those pigeons.
Yes, and
it was actually when it came to pool time in the club, because I did the pools.
Yes.
Joe didn't even have to tell me.
You knew the numbers.
I knew the numbers.
So that was the mother. So if a guy had gone in a bit of investigation, he'd have picked that bird up for as cheap as I did. On that same auction, there were birds whose parents going back to the last generation weren't even performers, but they were fashionable names.
Yeah.
And they'd started at like way more than this pigeon could ever have reached, which I'm happy about. But I think if we can just try and educate the novices on that.
That's the thing, Russ, it's like you don't have to do any investigation. You just have to go look how the bird raced.
Yeah.
If it's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But guys will go about pigeons that are rubbish on the line, you know, but let's just be honest. But they've got a more of a pedigree that from, you know.
Yes.
And then they pay big money for it.
Yeah.
They take it home, doesn't work, they get disappointed. You can buy that pigeon, it could be you nothing.
100%.
You know what I mean?
But it's not a lot of money.
Yes,
it's very cheap.
So I think the pencil cock, when I bought him, look, he was supposed to only be $8,000. But then Stephen got on the toots and he sold it to Ronald Britta. And then I had to go to Ronald and buy him, and I paid 20,000 for him.
You did offer him 10.
I did offer him 10, and he said, no, he wants 8.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, Steve, whatever you want, John. And I think the next Tuesday he sold him to Ronald. And then that's just when I started moving into Ranfield.
Yeah.
And then I said, I was on Ronald's case, and he wanted 50,000. Eventually we got to 20. And it was a lot of money, still a lot of money.
It is, but if you weigh it up, 20,000 for one bird.
I've got a lot.
Yeah. Or you could have spent 250,000 on 20 birds and nothing's ever happened.
You could have spent 20,000 on 50, and it's also had nothing. You know.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, and then you sit with an overcrowded loft.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know. I think but then you could buy the pen. But look, the pencil cock was a proven breeder.
Yes, so
before he ever got into.
Yeah, so you know that he was proven. So you know you didn't have to do the investigation, but Ronald did the investigation and he knew he was worth that money.
Yeah,
you know. So
and I mean,
I think guys just need to do a little bit of investigation.
The 20 grand that I spent on him is a drop in the ocean to what he's earned, what he's done. Yeah, for me, it's you know, that's, and the money he saved me from buying
that you can't count up.
Yeah, you know,
that you can't count up.
So
what's your advice there to guys who want to
buy the best performing pigeons you can afford?
Yeah, that's good advice. The best performing pigeons. Yeah.
Don't go buy a name.
Yeah.
You know, names are bred to be sold, not to be raised.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You know, I know. I've put a daughter and a granddaughter. No, two daughters of Joker on top pigeon. I'm just getting old. You know, so old 2017, 2018. And I think they've got one was $3,000 and I think $6,000.
Yeah.
But their full sisters are gold medal, full
Yeah.
brothers are silver medal, full, she
That's-
raced well,
yeah.
126, not 126, but that specific.
Specifically,
She raced well, you know what I mean? So, to me, that's a bargain of a life, you know.
And that's why I'd say a little bit of investigation before you spend the big money on the names.
Yeah, look, it's everyone wants to improve and wants to, but I think, and that's not to say you can't go buy, for argument's sake, a best kettle cock. You know, we use that name.
Yeah.
And now you're buying shit.
No.
And
No, I'm not saying that.
they can breed. They can
Champions.
be champions. They
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be champions. They
Yeah.
can come and change. It can happen.
Can happen, yeah.
But not every best kettle is best kettle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not every pencil cock is the pencil cock. I understand. But
A lot of them are,
but the
but
price
it's-
difference
Is huge, yeah.
is huge.
Yeah, the price difference is huge.
So if you can buy performing pigeons that are
Yeah.
working not 4 generations of stockbirds,
Yeah.
you know, in the pedigree,
Pedigree, yeah.
you know,
Yeah, breakfast stock, breakfast
you
stock.
get
breakfast
oaks
stock.
that, I mean, you know, they drive from Santon,
Two time I spoke to you about that in the week.
yeah, and they
I can show
drive
you.
past
and-
all the champions to go buy from people that don't race.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
And I was speaking to you about that in the week when I was telling you about these auction sites. And I don't know these people that they live in our area.
Yeah,
They've never raced in our area.
yeah.
But they are selling birds every single day. And I think
It's
the
another
novices,
thing
the
that-
novices need to just
you
just look where the
I'm on-
racing is and
I'm on those Facebook groups a lot of them,
Yeah.
and I sit there and then I see a guy asks a question, and then I go start thinking, let me give my. Then I start going through the comments, and I think, hey,
let me not
let me not get involved.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I agree with you.
You know, one guy, I can't remember what the strain was before, for argument's sake. The guy says, listen, you know, I'm looking for squirn patries. So it doesn't matter, it must just be a patrie.
Yeah.
So like one another guy commented, he says, no, look, I've got them, but I don't have pedigrees. He says, no, I'm not worried about pedigree. But if you're asking for something, you're only asking for a pedigree. You're not asking for
anything else.
I want a winner. Or I want a verdict to
Just want to be a
perform.
patrie.
You want a name. And the name is only worth as much as the paper. And when I read it, I thought, what is the mentality of a guy that's saying, I want the patries, but doesn't have to have pedigree. As long as you say it's a patrie, then I'm happy. And obviously you can chip out a pedigree and
No, you can do whatever you want. So,
But
yeah, so that's
it's-
to buy there.
yeah, pigeons.
Just a bit on performance.
Yeah, it's a weird sport.
Yeah,
because
just study the pedigree a bit, and then if the performing pigeons aren't too far back, try that.
yeah,
And not too much money. But obviously sometimes the performing ones are cost a bit of money.
and it takes, you know, it's gonna sound weird, but it takes one pigeon.
Yeah,
It takes one pigeon to help you and put you on
put you on the
map.
map.
You know, the pencil cock was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to cross him to hens, but it was what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Joker, his hen did really well. He
Yeah.
does well with lots of hens.
Yeah. And then the grandkids, or the children go on to be good grandkids, and
So
eventually
my whole life
Yeah.
was always my story that everything I race
Yeah,
has got the pencil cock in it.
yeah,
And I suppose it's still will, but now everything that I'll be racing, and it's happening fast now, will have Joker in it.
yeah, yeah. So the more, but then you'll still bring in
Yeah,
birds.
you're bringing birds to cross the
Yeah.
whole time, but you keep that line, and the line keeps getting more and more diluted. I understand it. Like,
Yeah,
And then eventually you'll come across
But
another
another
part that will take over.
yes.
And then and that's how I do it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
So
going to be.
so that brings me on to the last little part of our podcast, which, as you know, I've asked you for the next podcast that we're going to do from TNT Elite Center.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of rundown about what's TNT Elite Center, because I think I've seen a lot of the studs, and I think that's some of the best birds
Yeah, so
around. So just tell us how you got about it, where you went to look for the birds, why you went to look for those specific ones, and then
yeah, so what
before,
happened,
and then we'll do the podcast from there.
from there, yeah. So what happened was, actually started, what happened was when I built my loft, I bolted, Pat Wright said the magic number for breeding is 24 pairs. That was what he always said to me. So I bred it 3 sections of 6, 12, 18. So it's a community breeding with 6 single pens, which got me to the 24. So then that was fun. Because everything was working out. And then as the one loft scene, which I mean has been on at about $1 million, but it seems to have gained a lot more momentum in the last couple of years, and I've started participating in it. And eventually I started pulling my race team apart to compete in the one lofts. And
just to mention, you still held your own and still competed well with a completed team.
Yeah, still competitive, but I mean you really. It's to the detriment of the racing what I was doing, you know what I mean? I was pulling them out there. And so that 24 pairs became too small, too little. And then in your shop, we were talking, and Mr. Roland Bell was in the shop, and he was competing in one lofts with other guys, and I said, man, don't want to give your mate a piece, don't want to race with me, and just playing, and eventually it turned into a bit of a reality. And we were looking on Pipa, and he was by this by, and then eventually we just said, look, we're going to go to the Blackpool show with you and Jules, and thought, well, we'll take an extra week and go past Belgium and see what's going on there, you know. And
just give us a little bit of a taste of what you did there, why you visited some lofts there, and then obviously we'll get into the pigeons at the centre.
Yeah, so Roland's good mates with Peter Gijselbrecht.
Okay.
You know, he's cousins of the guys from Pipa and that. But anyway, he
does he race?
He races. Is
he a fancier? Is he a good fancier?
Good fancier. He races. Their family, I mean, obviously their family is world renowned in the pigeon fraternity. They concentrate more on the Barcelona long distances, from what I can understand. You know, while we were there, we discussed it was more that, but he wanted to race. He's done well on them all. But anyway, I mean, really a hell of a nice guy that took us, he took us to the best.
Hospitality.
You can't believe that. This guy went out of his way for us. And we visited a couple of lofts that obviously we suggested, and some that he had suggested that we visit. One of the lofts that we wanted to visit, which was also discussed here in your shop, was the Flanders collection of Yannick de Rode. And he had just recently acquired that Blizzard King Kittel, which is the grizzlecock who was in 2021 the KBDB Sprint Ace Pigeon, the best coefficient since Kittel. Better, he broke Kittel's record.
So he holds a new record.
He holds 0.93 is his coefficient. And his progeny now has just, I think it was in Ireland, broken their record for the Ace lowest coefficient.
Because Yannick's got a partner there
in Ireland, so those birds, not only was he a champion himself, he's obviously now his progeny is also breeding.
So did you get anything of that line of the?
So that was definitely, when you saw the video of him, I'm a sucker for a nice wing, he's got a beautiful wing. So I said, no, look, I'd really like to go see those birds, and we ended up selecting 4 birds out there. How it turns out is that 2 of them that we selected were not nestmates, but brother and sister. And their full brother is Legend Blizzard, who's raced phenomenally for Yannick, and is out of his number 1 pair.
So you got 2 out of his number 1 pair?
2 out of his number 1 pair. Then his second best pair bred Jaggy 5, which was also a phenomenal racing pigeon. I've got a daughter like that, and then I've got a beautiful, it's like a pink pigeon, it's a red grizzle, and he's beautiful, so I've got the four grandkids.
I think you'd be the only one I know of that got these Blizzard King Kittels in.
I believe we are the only oaks that
in
got
South
them
Africa,
and we've bedded them up, and we'll see. we'll see how they go.
But they've proven they've already started.
They've already started. But I mean, to go and pick 4 and hope that they all good.
It's
It's a chance, and I think.
And in contra top loft to do it.
Yeah. And also, what it's funny how it worked out because I've got the grizzles from Walter, but I got them from Walter Dunwoody, and then I got a grizzle hen from Arnie, which is from Walter stuff, but obviously crossed to Arnie stuff.
Yeah.
And out of that grizzle hen, she bred me the Carl one at the $1 million and 12692. And 12692, the grizzle cock, he bred me the silver medal in the TRPF and the best long distance bird in the Gauteng Combine last year. But he's bred me, but those are like the two that really stand
out. Yeah.
So that's a grizzles that I've got, and then I've got from Toppy, but actually I got it from Ronnie Gullett. He would come from Toppy Janssen, a grizzle hen. And out of her I bred 2 very good grizzle hens, a Beaufort winner and a very consistent other hen.
Yeah.
So the very consistent hen I gave to my mate Lex Webster. He bred with her.
Also does well in one loft, Lex Webster.
Yeah, so
he's done very well.
He paired her to his pigeons, and they bred the 3rd ace at the Karoo Million one-off race. And my Beaufort winner paired to 12692 bred Bundu, the best long distance bird in the world. So I've already had a grizzle line running in my loft. I say my own comes from all those people, but it's my mixture of grizzles, and then we've got the grizzles from Yannick, those blizzards.
Yes.
Then when we went to visit Roland Bell, also good friends of his was Nicholas and Philip Norman.
Yeah.
And also lovely people, also treated us like you can't believe. And they took us up into the loft and they brought out another grizzle cock. So it was beautiful in the hand of and he was Magic Alvin. And in 2021, he was the KBDB Extreme Long Distance Ace Pigeon.
Yes.
And I believe it was the best world marathon pigeon. So that's another grizzle phenomenal, and I managed to get a direct daughter of Magic Alvin. And I got her and put her in the loft. And then she's been in quarantine there, flew to South Africa, quarantine, paired her up to 12692 and bred me the best long distance bird, that good cock of mine. And she had just laid her 2nd egg, and the guy that helps me with the Lucas, who helps me with my cleaning the lofts and that, says, look, he opened the door and she ducked. So chaos ensued, running around, letting out all my widowwood cocks.
Drone up.
Drone up, looking for her.
Phoning
the whole world to see if she's landed, because, it's maybe it's unfortunate, but a grizzle hen Belgian ring lands in a loft.
No, you're not going to get it.
Probably never see it again. Anyway, nothing left to do but phone the whisperer.
Phone
Joe. So Joe that ends out. Says, don't know where I'm coming. Gets there, walks around the garden, looks around, he says, no, well, don't worry. So we're back Thursday afternoon, Friday. This was Tuesday. He says Thursday afternoon, Friday morning. I said, this oak's lost his mind. 4 days out the loft.
She's never been anywhere.
She's never been outside the loft. Anyway, Friday morning she landed there. Opened the loft, she went back in, and she took her
back on the eggs.
Well, I actually had placed the eggs because I thought, well, at least I've got the eggs.
I've got something out there.
And then when she came back, I took the eggs back, gave it back to her. She took them, and the baby's on the floor. So that's her, and then I was going through the whole grizzle. So then we got back to Peter's house. His wife had made us dinner or whatever, and he said he wants to show some of his birds. And he has got a son from Magic Island. And he brought out a whole lot of his Barcelona pigeons, which it was Marie or Mari.
Give us an idea of the distance. You said Barcelona for Peter, what's that?
I think it's about 1200.
1200 kilometers.
I think I know. He's not. And he bought out these hens, Mari, and then he bought out a hen, Nina. And she was like a superstar, you know. And I said, you know, would you ever pair that hen to the Magic Island cock? And he says, you know, he was actually planning on doing that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, no, if you do, when you sell me 2 babies, he said, no problem. And he sent me those 2, and that's also 2 beautiful grizzles, hen and a cock. So that's half, so it's 2 grandchildren of Magic Island, but paired to Peter Hasselbrack's Barcelona stuff.
Okay.
So for those of, you know, and that's my whole, you know, I want to do a whole thing on like a video series on creating a strain of grizzles. Whether I'll get the balls to do it or not, I don't know.
No, you'll get there. Well, you may still get there.
No, but to actually document.
To do all of that.
I don't know if I can talk to a camera by myself. So
maybe a couple.
Yeah, I have a couple of shots. But yeah, so that's what I want to do is basically try and create a grizzle strain. It happened by chance, by coincidence.
Yeah, take it further.
And once I had them all in my loft, I thought, you know, it's the perfect opportunity to now create a strain of grizzles that can compete against any blue, any...
Yeah, I just want to ask you though, it's interesting you say that, but what you've mentioned with the grizzles now, and correct me if I'm wrong there now, they vary in their distances. Because you've gone from lizard, which is sprints, to the Barcelona, which is 1200 km. So that's completely different.
Yeah, and I think...
Or do you want to try and...
I think they specialise because they specialise. Now look, you can see there are different types of pigeons when you handle them.
But I think maybe you want to create an all-round grizzle.
Yes, and so what's nice is that I've got the South African Mar grizzles, that the silver medal cock race.
All the distances.
You can't just race on a distance, otherwise, you know what I mean, you won't be silver medal. So they can race any distance, and that can be the glue that unites the extreme long, because we don't have races for extreme long distance.
No.
We don't have the daylight hours for it.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the guys in Belgium and I said to them, you know, you guys can race here. You guys can race 14 hours. You've got 14 hours of daylight.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
So we don't have those races for those extreme long distance. Yeah. And the sprint racing is not, I mean, those birds are racing 220. That's not that's their limit, but that's what
it's specialised.
220 kilometres. That's Kroon stuff. I mean, I'm not going to win any prizes from Kroon stuff.
Yeah.
But I think they do have. If you look at the kittles and the best kittles, they're competing in one lofts. So I think that what's
I think John and Barney had a cross kittle that was
brilliant.
Gold medal winner, and they must have also raced all distances. I'm not sure, but it must have.
I think they've got scope. Yeah. But I think if you could bring them into Mar grizzles and bring those into Mar grizzles, and then from there, because it's also 2 different strains of mine. I've got obviously the Dinwoody and I've got the Toppy Hansen. You know, and you can then bring those to create that strain, and then cross back. You know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Swap between them.
Yes.
So that's hopefully, look, I'm going to try it out, see if it works out for me. I mean, the results, out of those, I actually bred that hen to one of my pencil cock sons.
Which hen?
The hen from On.
Okay.
I paired her to one of my pencil cock sons, and I also, maybe I don't know if I mentioned names or, but anyway, I picked a guy bought it from me, and they won Gauteng, they won the combines. He's
a good fancy. You mentioned his name. He's a very good fancy. Very knowledgeable and very balanced.
Yeah, and I mean the results.
He's talking about Piet Drotsky.
100%. Yeah, the results were phenomenal.
Yeah. So. And what I like about Piet, he's very, when I say balanced, he doesn't speak rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, if a novice had to go, a guy like Piet will be set straight because he doesn't bullshit and he doesn't. What he says is out of experience.
So he's had very good success with them. Lex obviously has had a bit of success there in Karoo. I mean, whether or not he's going to have more, so I think I've got a good base to start with there.
No, I think so. And then a bit of the other lines.
Then we went to from Nicholas and Philip Norman. We also got a beautiful little hen, checker hen. She's phenomenal. In the hand, you know, it's out of his best stuff. You know, Then we got some more Sion pigeons, which is also
and his name is huge.
I mean, big day.
I mean, what auction we went to.
So he
went crazy the way they were bidding, but
he's got a lot of them, the brain pigeons, which is also well renowned, and he bred that Cameroon, who was what they say is the best in ever in Belgium, and she sold for undisclosed money, and so we actually got
anything related to the Cameroon?
Yeah, so I've got it's actually Roland's pigeon, a half sister to Cameroon. And I bought that one from Philip Norman Phillips.
Yes.
Yeah, 2016 little hen. She's beautiful. I mean, you sold it. I don't know if there was a reason for it, but
that was obviously local.
But she's a Belgian ring. She's from them. But she's bringing beautiful babies this year. And really showing me something. So like that. Then when we visited Luke. And Yilda, he's also a very nice fancier, also a straight shooter, very...
So he's got quite a few of the brain pigeons?
And so he obviously had sold, he had just had his sale, and he had, I think, a son of Cameroon, and we had also again selected a pair, and he bred we got those babies in. And then the secret weapon.
Tell them. Because what I like about your setup is, and I think many people have got those birds. Everyone's gone for the very fashionable. Strains. So I'd like to hear about that.
We went to visit one of Peter's friends, and he had a national and a third national or something, and we handled the birds, and then we bought out of his national winner and the national winner's parents. And discussing price and everything, he had asked Peter, listen, are these guys, are we going to Bullard? And he said, and he's taking us there tomorrow. And then you could see something was on the go, and he was asking about it. Anyway, we got to Bullard's loft, and it's Stephen Dowd. Vibes,
so no palaces,
no palace, nothing, down to earth. Walked up in the one loft, it was ice cold, full of cobwebs, freezing. It was horrible. I don't know. And he said no, but his best birds are in down the stairs again. And there's another loft which was a windy hut with a packet that was the wires,
the trap wires.
So the bird fast to the packet. And I thought, Jesus, Anyway, bought the pigeons out, and it's probably some of the best birds I've handled in Belgium. They were superstars. And then,
so those are the little gems you need to find.
And if you go back on the results, there was an article in Pigeon about them. I think they won 8 or 9 nationals, those guys. From there, out of those lofts. They're not.
So they're not super wealthy guys that
no.
have access to all the luxuries and none of that.
I wouldn't know what they feed and stuff, but I would assume that.
You can see,
I don't think that they spend huge amounts.
But they got the birds,
They got the birds.
And then you said some of the top guys buy birds from them.
So a lot of them. So last year, Peter sent me a thing, the best. So they've got. The best long distance bird over 2 races, over 4 races, over 6 races. So the best long distance bird in Belgium last year is out of Bullard pigeons. A lot of Peter's birds have got the Bullards in them. That Frederick guy's pigeons, a lot of them. He's obviously got the Bullards in his pigeons. So a lot of guys can buy from these guys, but they're also half French, half French.
So if you understand them at all?
No one understands anything. You just
agree.
We all just agree with each other and handle pigeons, and that's maybe pigeons bridges the gap.
So that's basically what you brought in now.
And those pigeons I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
So I'm looking forward to visit the centre soon, and then we'll go through and we can try and show the guys some of the wings and show them those lizard kittles and some of these bullards and some of the Sions and all the different strains.
All sorts.
And then, okay, Tom, thanks, man. And then we'll do this again next time. We're going to do it there from the centre and show the guys what the birds look like and a bit of your setup there. And then I hope you got chairs there for us.
Yes.
And then the basic program we'll make available to the guys.
Yeah.
And we'll put it on the net, and then guys can take it from there.
100%.
Okay, sweet. Thanks, mate. Okay, ciao, mate.